everybody. Welcome. We will get started because I know everybody is busy and wants their time back. So we'll get started. Thank you for joining us for how to step back from daily operations by leveraging automation and AI. We're super excited to have Oscar de Pasquale with us today. And before we dive in, I do want to cover a couple housekeeping items. We want the session to be interactive, so please feel free to use the chat and the Q&A features to ask any of your questions. If we don't get to your question during the session, we'll definitely answer it at the end during the Q&A time. Today's session is being recorded, and we will send a recording out to you, so keep an eye out in your inboxes. Now I'd like to introduce you to our speaker, Oscar. Oscar is a business automation consultant specializing in helping youth activity centers streamline operations to boost productivity, enhance the customer experience, and focus on strategic growth. His journey began in 2018 when he joined an exclusive program connecting young talents with Silicon Valley's tech giants, sparking his passion for business. Since 2020, Oscar has helped youth activity centers save up to 30% of their time, improve customer experiences, and increase both conversion and retention rates. So with that, please welcome Oscar.
Hi everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. Sometimes people ask me what is the pronunciation of my surname. It's Di Pasquale, even if I know that you say Di Pascal, but it sounds nicer. Maybe I should use that. So let me share my screen. Can you please confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So thank you very much for joining. Today, we are going to talk about how to step back from daily operations by leveraging automation and AI. This presentation is specifically designed for business owners who manage at least around 300, 500 students and feel overwhelmed by the daily tasks. So if this is you, then you are in the right place. And another thing is that you feel like you don't have time to focus on what truly matters. So there is always something else to do, and you don't have time for what really moves the needle. And last but not least, you are in the right place if you have heard about automation and AI, which I'm pretty sure, because unless you've been living under a rock for the past 2 years, I'm sure that you have heard about automation and AI. And you would like to learn more about it and understanding how you can apply this to your business. So today, we are going to talk about the following topics. First of all, I want to give you an overview of what AI and automation are and how you can apply them in your business. After that, I want to explain you 3 pillars that you need to have in order to ensure that you are on the right path. This is important. Some of you teach music, some of you teach gymnastics, and you know that students always have to have the basics in place before they can go to the advanced class. These are what the 3 pillars are. And then common mistakes and misconceptions to avoid. When I want to learn something new, I always try to make a list of things that I absolutely have to avoid, the big mistakes that I should avoid. So that's why I think it is very important for these topics to include a list of mistakes and misconceptions that you need to avoid in order to avoid costly mistakes in the future. And then at the end, I'm going to show you a roadmap of how to implement this in your business and some practical examples applied to your processes. So as has been already said, I started in the digital marketing space in 2018 when I was selected for an exclusive program. We went to the Silicon Valley and basically visited the teams that are working, for example, at Facebook or LinkedIn, etc. That's a picture that we took in front of the Facebook headquarters. And that was a turning point in my life because then I got so inspired and then I started my journey in the digital marketing space. And then I've been in the CRM and automation field since 2019 when I joined the team of an innovative startup in Italy. And they developed in 2019 an AI assistant for the Salesforce CRM. So basically, what you can see in the picture is basically the Google Cloud blog, and they mentioned Mapador, this was the name of the startup, helping to optimize sales team productivity. So this is to say that this was before the hype around AI, before ChatGPT became a thing, before all of this. And so it's nice to see how things are taking shape and how the marketing is maturing and evolving. And then in the past 3 years, I've helped the several youth activity centers automate their operations and boost productivity. If you want to learn more about the journey of a couple of clients of mine, business owners like you, on my YouTube channel, I have 2 case studies that you can watch in order to understand the journey that business owners like you went through with me in order to automate their processes and boost efficiency. So let's get started. The importance of working on your business. This is what often happens. We all start with the thing, meaning teaching music or teaching gymnastics, teaching how to swim, etc. And then year after year, things grow. And at one point, we find ourselves kind of stuck in daily operations, and we don't have time to actually plan strategically our moves, what to do next. And of course, this is a problem because if you stay too immersed in the day-to-day tasks, then you don't have time to think strategically and grow your business. As I said, you need time to think strategically, understanding what to do and in what order. Getting things done is not enough because if you get the daily task done, that do not move the needle. So that's why you need the time to take a step back and have an overall picture of your business and understand what to do and when to do it. The impact on growth is clear. If you don't do this, this is something that is not that obvious. Time is the most perishable resource. You cannot make more time, but you can make more money. So that's why it's very crucial that you think about increasing the efficiency in your business. Otherwise, failing to shift can lead to burnout, stagnation, and then you miss opportunities. So that's why it is very important, and I always stress this point, to increase the efficiency and save time so that you can also reallocate those resources into something else. Now, the 3 pillars. As I said, you always need to start with the basics, and these are the basics of AI and automation. So first of all, people, meaning they make the difference because you need to make sure that you have the right people on board, meaning people that collaborate, people that understand that technology can enhance their skills, okay? So they need to be, they don't need to be averse to the change. And this is very important because people can make the difference, So the second point is processes. The underlying process that you want to automate needs to be working, meaning sometimes when people set up a sales and marketing process like advertising, etc., sometimes they miss some important parts. They aren't really generating leads or converting leads. So it is very important that the underlying process is set up correctly. Otherwise, just plugging in a piece of technology will not generate the results for you. And this is very important because sometimes I get asked, hey, Oscar, I would like to automate my process, blah, blah, blah. But then I see that there are huge mistakes for what concerns the strategic setup of the process itself. I partially cover this because, of course, when I help my clients automate processes, there is always a strategic part involved on how to set up that process. And then the third pillar is technology. At this point, we can talk about technology. So we have people, we have the processes that are set up correctly, and then we have technology that is an enabler. As I said, tools are tools. They are not a magic wand. So if the underlying process is not set up correctly or the team doesn't collaborate, then a piece of technology will not change anything. This is very important. Now, I would like to give you an overview of what automation and AI are, and that's why I created this sort of like illustrations in order to try to explain you the easiest way possible what automation and AI are. So I always say that automation, it's, let's say, the damned part, meaning it just follows a set of rules and conditions that you set up. For example, when X happens, do A, B, C. When Y happens, do D, E, F, and that's it. So we can say that it works, it acts as the hand, meaning it helps you carry on some tasks when a condition is met. This is an example of a Zapier workflow. We have a trigger, in this case, student enrolled in an event. This is a Jackrabbit trigger. By the way, if you wanted to learn more about how to integrate Jackrabbit with Zapier, then we held a webinar with Jackrabbit a year ago, so you can find the recording on the YouTube channel. So we have the trigger, and then we can set up the following two paths. The first one, when category 2 equals A, do this specific set of actions. When category 2 equals B, do this other set of actions. So this is how it works. In this specific case, the example is with a Zapier workflow, but then many tools have internal features for automating workflows. And then we have artificial intelligence. So I spent some time understanding and trying to find what's the simplest definition for artificial intelligence, because this is a very complex topic. I didn't want to overcomplicate it. And I found an interesting article by IBM, and they say artificial intelligence is a technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human learning. We can say that it works as the brain, and it helps you create something. It helps you analyze data, make a decision, etc. And at the moment, we have multiple AI engines like ChatGPT or Claude or the Microsoft AI. We have Gemini, Google's AI, etc. We can blend them together, meaning AI and automation can work together. And this is a very simple example of a workflow in Zapier. We have, say that you have a form on your website for collecting requests from your customers. We can then set up an assistant that is powered by an AI engine, in this case, ChatGPT, and we can customize and fine-tune that assistant and that AI engine with our knowledge base, with our custom instructions, okay? Examples of past replies to customers. So we basically, when the form submission happens, then we can send this to our assistant, and then our assistant, the brain, can help us understand what's the best way to reply to that customer. And then we can notify your team and create a card in your CRM system so that your team has a context. You receive this request, based on the knowledge base, you could reply this way. So this is a very simple example of how to blend the two. And then we have artificial intelligence assistants. This is a different thing, a separate thing. As I said, we can create a knowledge base. For example, like past replies to customers, or a detailed description on how to reply to customer inquiries for your specific programs. We can create this knowledge base and basically give it to the AI. And then, so basically we are fine-tuning the AI engine. And then what we can do is that we can, every time that we receive a request, like an email, something like that, then we can ask the AI assistant, hey, I just received this. based on the knowledge base, what's the best way to reply? And this, of course, imagine if you receive tens of emails every day, how much this can save you in terms of time, mental energy, etc. This is for an example for customer service, but then we can also create an assistant for content marketing, for speeding up the process of creating content for your social media. Now, some misconceptions about AI, because there is a lot of hype around it. So, and when I work with clients, I always notice that sometimes it's kind of not well understood how it works. The first misconception is that AI will replace all jobs, meaning AI just enhances the human role, meaning if you are a good data analyst, well, you just speed up the process. You will be a better data analyst, okay? And by the way, this picture, I created this picture using AI. So a fool with a tool is still a fool. It only enhances the human role. If you are a good data analyst, using AI will only make you a better data analyst, okay? So, like to give you an example, if me and a data analyst, prompts the AI, we of course get different results because I am not a data analyst. This is a simple example. Now, the second misconception is that AI can do everything on its own. So this is not true, of course, because it still needs ongoing human oversight, meaning especially for what concerns things that need nuanced judgment, it always needs guidance because it's basically a technology that has been trained on massive data sets, okay? And it simulates human learning. So basically, when it encounters a scenario that is the first time that happens, then it needs a human guidance. If you already tried to create a chatbot for customer service, for example, for sure you have already noticed that when it encounters a question that is not in the knowledge base, then it's always the AI always answer, hey, I don't have this in my knowledge base, so please try to rephrase it. This is a very simple example. The third misconception is that AI equals human intelligence. As I said, it's a technology trained on massive data sets. All right, so it uses statistical pattern recognition to learn and to reply to your questions. It doesn't learn like we do as humans with experiences, or it doesn't really understand what you are asking, okay? So it is very important to know this, because then you don't expect, for example, ChatGPT to know everything and to not make mistakes, which is the fourth misconception. As you can see in the picture, ChatGPT itself says ChatGPT can make mistakes, check important information. So this is very important, especially when it comes to nuanced judgment. You don't need to think that the AI knows it all. You need to give it the right inputs and ask the right questions. Why? Because garbage in, garbage out. This is, data analysts know this very well, because sometimes they complain that the data that they are given is not well organized, or it is not optimal in order to create a good output, okay? So the outputs are only as good as the inputs. This is true for data analysis and also for AI. So these are my takes. Nowadays, there is a lot of hype and noise around AI. So it is important to distinguish, you as a business owner, you need to distinguish between the noise and the hype and the real value. The second thing is that, as I said, you need to avoid over-reliance, meaning you need to think of AI as a complementary thing, something that helps you, something that speeds up a process, that speeds up a decision-making process. Therefore, you need to have some foundations in place, first of all. Second of all, you need to know how to ask the proper questions, create the proper knowledge base, etc., etc. And as I said, ensure the foundations are in place. So these are the 3 takes that I have for you. Now, what are the benefits of AI and automation? Well, we can summarize all the benefits in one sentence. It's basically an infrastructure that allows you to delegate effectively, boost the efficiency of your business and your team, and having the ability of monitor real-time the KPIs of your business. You have several processes. So for sure you have, for each one of your processes, you need to have the KPIs and you need to monitor them. So this is what automation and AI allows you to do. Now, like explaining a little bit deeper the benefits. The first one is very obvious, time saving. You have a workflow, you automate it. You also, as we saw before, we can also include AI. And this way you can save a ton of time. If before it took 5 minutes to do a simple task, and then you need to multiply this for every time that you run that workflow, and then also you need to multiply it by like the days, the weeks, the years, then the time save is huge. Even something very small, then if you expand the time horizon, you realize that it's a ton of time. And as we said, we cannot make more time. The second benefit is consistency and accuracy. So think about all the manual tasks, data entry activities that you do every day in your business. We are humans, so it's normal that we make mistakes. Therefore, if you automate your processes, the second benefit is that you improve consistency and accuracy, meaning you make less mistakes and the data that is entered in your tools is more accurate. I'm pretty sure that you already have experienced this, that you started to use a tool, but then, you know, people enter the same value in 10 different formats. Okay, so this is a clear example of consistency and accuracy. And of course, the result is that you improve the efficiency, but also the effectiveness. If leads don't fall through the cracks, you have a sales and marketing process that is more effective. You convert more leads. And this is the direct effects, the direct benefits. As I said, you can then reallocate those resources in something else. Okay, you have more time for human interactions, etc. So the benefits are not only the direct ones, the ones that you see here listed, but also the indirect ones, meaning you reallocate the time to do something else, and that something else produces and outputs other results. Okay, but Oscar, what about personalization? This is one of the questions that I get asked almost every day, and it makes sense. So Oscar, I know you wanted to automate everything, blah, 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 but how do we keep the human touch? Well, this is my philosophy, my personal philosophy. AI and automation only need to do the heavy lifting, so that you have more time for what moves the needle, for human interaction, for actually talking to your customers and prospects, instead of spending time updating spreadsheets and noting things down in a piece of paper and trying to remember, you know, who you need to follow up with. So you need to delegate to technology the low-level activities so that you can focus on the high-level activities. And then another thing is that if set up correctly, automation can actually be very personalized. If you segment correctly your audience, you send the right message to the right people. You can send customer-tailored messaging based on what they do. Okay, so as I said, if you set up automation correctly, then you can have human touch and a personalized approach. Now, what I would like to do right now is giving you an overview of the tech stack. Sometimes people ask me, okay, Oscar, but what's a tech stack? So it's a technological stack. It's basically the tools that you use in your business. And another thing is that people say, but why can't I use only one tool? And I'm like, well, for the same reason why you can't have like a band with only one person. You need multiple people, you need multiple instruments. You can't have a flute. A flute cannot substitute a clarinet, okay? They are complementary. You have both in an orchestra, in a band. So for the same reason, you need different tools because they have different purposes. In your industry, you have a class management software like Jackrabbit, which contains the data about your customers. Then you have your classes, the teachers, the transactions. And then you need a CRM system to, for example, for the sales and marketing process, for generating leads, for converting those leads. And then you need Zapier as the glue of your tools so that they can communicate with each other. This is not something that happens in your industry only. For example, manufacturing industry, they have what is called ERP system. It's basically a tool that to manage the manufacturing of a product, the finance part, the delivery of the product. And then they have the CRM system for managing the sales and marketing process, etc. Healthcare industry, they have a tool for managing the patient with everything that the patient has done in the clinic. And then they have the CRM system for sales and marketing, customer support, etc., etc. So your industry is not the only one that is experiencing, let's say, this scenario. So you need tools that need to communicate with each other because the purpose of these tools is different. One is for managing the classes, the students, etc. One is for managing, sales and marketing process, etc. So also the data structure is different. Now, the customer journey. We have different tools. You have activities to generate leads, to nurture leads, and these usually happen in the CRM system. You have ads, you have your website. I always say to my clients that the website needs to be not only an online brochure, but a lead generation machine, okay? So you generate leads through your website. Then maybe you have chatbots, etc. You have birthday parties. So these things need to be organized in one place and happens in your CRM. And then some of these people convert and become students, customers, and that happens in Jackrabbit. So from there, Jackrabbit takes care of collecting payments, of managing the classes, the teachers, etc. Our goal is connecting the two. How do we do that? Well, I created some, I tried to create these slides so that it's visually clear what happens and what the new processes could look like in your business. So the first example is the sales and marketing process. As I said, everything needs to be organized in one place. And when I say organized in one place, I don't mean just paying the membership and then randomly importing contacts in the tool, because that's not organizing the lead sources, okay? As I said before, sometimes you have for the same value, 10 versions of that value. So it is very important to strategically define how data is entered in your CRM and how each lead source is registered into the CRM so that you can leverage this data in the other processes and also when you analyze data. As I said, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't collect data efficiently, you're not able to analyze the data. So Leads, all the lead sources organized in one place. And then data is organized efficiently. This is what I just said. Basically, not randomly importing things into a tool. This is, of course, true for the CRM system, but also for Jackrabbit. Then you need something that each tool calls it in a different way. Some tools call it pipeline, some other tools call it opportunities. So they have different names, but the concept is only one. You have your team that can interact with a Kanban board and basically take care of following up with your leads. This is good because leads don't fall through the cracks. You can make your notes about the leads, and you always see the leads that have been followed up to, and those that still are in the process. Of course, this also makes the follow-up process efficient and effective because you can customize the journey based on the lead source. A lead that you generate from a Facebook ad is not the same as a lead that you generate because of a birthday party that you hosted in your studio or in your gym. Does this make sense? So that's why we need these important features. The last part is that you need a tracking system in place. If data is entered efficiently, as I said, then you can create a set of dashboards, and I help businesses do that. A dashboard like this one, this is the first part, for basically monitoring real time the number of leads that you generated, the number of customers that you generated, and also a breakdown by the lead source. As I said, you have multiple lead sources, so it is very important to monitor this, to monitor the situation so that you can make the necessary adjustments. And this instead, spending time trying to put together the numbers like spreadsheets and then the back end of your website and then like tons of spreadsheets. So this should happen very, let's say, automatically. And this is what it means for you, meaning, of course, you have more sales because the process is more effective, because you follow up in a consistent way, also in an effective way, if you have implemented the follow-up system correctly. You have a better allocation of your resources because instead of updating the CRM or a spreadsheet, you actually have time to talk with your audience, okay? And you, thanks to the reporting, you are able to better allocate the budget, time budget, and money budget in your marketing activities, okay? In a source that is generating more results than the other ones. And then, of course, as I said, less time spent on repetitive tasks. Now, the other process, this is a big like part of your processes, enrollments and trials, because if you manage around 300, 500 students, you likely manage thousands of enrollments each year and hundreds of leads each year. So enrollments and trials. The logic here is to process the trial or the enrollment as soon as it's created in Jackrabbit. So this is what the optimal process would look like a trial or an enrollment is created in Jackrabbit, and then this is sent to the CRM so that you can onboard the new student based on if it's, I don't know, for summer, for school year, you have different programs. As I said, you want to customize the experience based on what program they chose, okay? So this needs to happen automatically. And the same for trials. You have a process for trials. You need to follow up with those trials. You need to see if they actually showed up to the trial. So for this reason, instead of spending time trying to put together the numbers and noting things down on a piece of paper, this needs to happen automatically so that in your CRM, your team is able to manage those trials, verify that those trials were attended or not attended, and in that case, you have a follow-up in place, etc., etc. And this is the second part of the dashboard. So ideally, you have the lead generation part, and then you have the conversion part, meaning you generated X number of leads and Y number of customers. And you also know what are the sources of those customers, not leads, customers. This is important because you can clearly see that one source is generating more customers than the other one. So how many of you at the moment don't have a system that tells you this? This is important because otherwise you are not allocating your time resources and money resources effectively because you don't know if those are generating results. So you need to connect, long story short, you need to connect the dots between the marketing activities and customers. As I said, you need to spend less time trying to put together the numbers and spend hours doing that, but actually taking action, analyzing the results, and then taking action. And this is the complete dashboard. Now, what it means for you. As I said, more sales, because, for example, the trial process is more effective, less time spent on repetitive tasks, and then you have more time to do what actually moves the needle. An example is like this screenshot for a summer early bird launch. This business owner was able to manage 166 enrollments in a matter of a couple of hours, 3 hours, something like that. So imagine if it takes like days for you at the moment to onboard enrollments, well, that's a big time save. And then you can spend more time actually talking with those customers, understanding what went well, what went wrong, understanding how to improve the overall experience that they have. Okay, so instead of working in the business, working on the business. And the last process, well, the last process like today, but then I know that you have a ton of other processes. These are, let's say, the main ones. So request management. I know that you receive many requests for your customers. Some of your people wanted to change the enrollment, you know, they have some requests. So instead of just noting things down on a piece of paper and trying to remember, and then you have emails, you have forms on your website, etc. Here again, you need to collect all these requests in one place for many reasons. First of all, because then your team only has to check one place to follow up. Okay, so the process is more efficient. You can have reminders. You can set up a specific, let's say, process for each one, for depending on the type of request that you receive. Okay, if it's a complaint, you may want to know why they are complaining and they would like to cancel the enrollment. So these can help you save the enrollment maybe and improve your service. Okay, so this is very important. And then, as here again, monitor the results. If you have everything in one place, the data is in one place, then you can create reports and understanding, okay, I'm getting all these complaints or requests to withdraw in a specific month for a specific program. Okay, so maybe I need to do something. If you don't have a system in place to do that, you don't know it. It's crazy how taking a step back and looking at the numbers and at a dashboard, sometimes you realize that it's not what you thought. It always happens because sometimes the numbers do not correspond with the feelings. And since we are all business owners, we wanted to check the numbers, not the feelings, okay? So, as I said, this is what means for you. You can improve your customer experience, your retention rate, and here again, you spend less time trying to put together, trying to gain the perspective because the system already does it for you. Now, I would like to cover some mistakes that you absolutely have to avoid because, as I said, I've been working on this industry for like 5 years, 6 years, and I am a nerd myself, so I like to play around with tools. The problem is that, first of all, you need to avoid the shiny object syndrome, meaning sometimes people really would like to try like a new tool because it's very fancy, it's very, like sparkly, things like that. So it's important that once you have the right setup in place that's generating results for you, you stick with it, you leverage it, you make the most out of it, instead of changing the CRM tool because, I don't know, because there is a new one that looks better. This is important. Unless, provided that you are using the right tool, of course, most of the cases it doesn't make sense to every year change the CRM system, for example. Before you do that, before you change your tech stack, there are other questions that you need to ask yourself. For example, have I optimized the ads? Have I optimized the follow-up sequences? Have I customized those follow-up sequences? Have I trained my sales team? Have I improved my customer experience? So all of these questions, you need to ask yourself these questions before you even think about, okay, there is a new trendy tool, let's use that. This is very important, otherwise you just waste time. The second mistake is that you should never start from the tool. You should start from the strategy. If your sales and marketing process is not optimized, using the software X instead of the software Y will not make the difference, okay? So otherwise, you are just implementing features, but you are not optimizing your process, okay? So processes, then you need to understand the business needs and the requirements, and then you can go out there and find the tool that meets the criteria. And then you stick with it and you make the most out of it. You train your team, you improve the follow-up sequences, you improve your customer experience, etc., etc., etc. I say this because this industry evolves so fast. There are news every day. So once you have the right setup in place, make the most out of it. And then there are always, new things coming up, and then you can analyze if it makes sense to make changes. So focus on the desired outcomes instead of on the features. And last but not least, this is a picture that I created with AI as well. So delegate, but don't abdicate. So you need to know some basics because you avoid making costly mistakes in the future. Just as you would do, for example, for accounting. Okay, if you don't learn the basics, well, I'm pretty sure that problems will arise in the future. Okay, so that's the same for concerns your tech stack, AI and automation. Since this empowers your team and enables your processes, then you need to understand how this works. Now, this is what you need in order to do exactly what I said today. You need two things, two areas. The tech to understand the strategy behind your processing, how to set up a sales and marketing process that generates results, how to deliver a great customer experience for onboarding your new customers, how to handle customer inquiries, etc., etc., etc. So you don't need just somebody who clicks the buttons, but somebody who is also able to help you in understanding how the underlying process should be set up. So this is very important. Now, when I help my clients, I always go through 5 phases that I recommend to everybody. Why? Because the first mistake is that you jump right into implementation without spending a proper amount of time analyzing the big picture. Sometimes people would like to automate processes and they have a quick fix mindset, but they don't even know the processes because they need to go back to their team and ask, hey, how do we do this? Okay, and it takes weeks in order to create the overall picture, but they want a quick fix. Oh, just click that button. Okay, it doesn't work. It will not generate results for your business. So this is another huge mistake. Before starting implementation, you need to take time to understand what your current processes are. You need to understand like what's the desired situation, what are the optimal processes that need to be set up, and then create a roadmap to achieve your goals. And if you think about that, it's basically what you do with your students, okay? Sometimes there is a student who would like to skip the basics because they think they know it, okay? But they don't know it. And these quick fix things are short-lived, okay? So that's the same. And this is the first and most important phase. The second phase is, of course, like implementing and testing. Because then when you start like testing things out, you always wanted to modify things and customize the implementations to your like even more. Okay, so this is a rabbit hole. I always say we start from one point and then like people always get excited and they would like to do also that and that and that. So it's very important to have a strategic approach. You start by analyzing your processes and creating a roadmap, and then you implement and test what you have created. You train your team. As I said, first pillar, people. If your people don't use the tool, nothing else matters. So this is very important. And then knowledge base, meaning if like your team doesn't remember how to handle one specific scenario, you need to have a knowledge base in place that does that, so that it's also easier in the future to onboard the new team members. So as you can see, these type of implementations allow you not only to improve the current results, but also to have a strategic view for the future when you need to onboard new people, okay? And then, of course, ongoing support, and then you can achieve your goal. Now, like how I can personally support you in this journey. I say we because, of course, we are growing. So I have some collaborators in the data analytics department and also in the automation and CRM side of the things that can help you do exactly what I just presented you today in 2 specific ways. The first one is with the coaching program. I know that all this automation and the AI thing is very overwhelming and many people are scared. So that's why if you don't feel confident, I always recommend to start maybe with a coaching program, like having somebody who has done it already and who has helped the businesses like yours understand more about automation and AI and how they can be applied in your specific business. And the second way is with an audit and analysis, meaning actually mapping out your processes, showing you what the new processes could look like, how you can personalize your customer journey, how you can step back from daily activities and finally get an overall picture of your business in order to understand how to strategically set up your business for the future. So if you would like to deepen this topic, then we have 5 spots available for the next month for a quick 30 minutes free roadmap. So you can scan this QR code and then you can submit the form so that we can schedule a call in order to understand how automation and AI can be applied in your business. So if you have any questions, please write them in the chat so that we can have also an interactive Q&A.
Oscar, we did have a couple questions come in if you are ready for them.
Yep.
One was, is there a recommended CRM?
Okay. Well, that I recommend, I guess that the question is if I recommend any tool. So I have my, let's say, list of recommended tools that I use with my clients. But maybe we can talk about these like separately, because I want to be focused not on the tool, as I just said, you know? So you need to focus, first of all, on the process, on the overall strategy. Why? Because if now I tell you one name, then, you go, you open, you start paying the membership, but then you don't know how to use it, or you start thinking in terms of features instead of what you actually need. So you need to start with the processes. I would ask myself the following question. Do I have already my processes mapped out? What's the outcome that I'm trying to achieve? And then what are the needs? And then, okay, now I can go out there and try to find a tool that meets the needs that I have. I hope this kind of answered the question.
Yes. And also, Jackrabbit is working on an integration that's releasing in a few weeks. And so you can connect with industry-focused CRMs too. So keep an eye out for that. Are you ready for more questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. When is the right moment to start with the complete AI and automation solution, and why?
Sure. So I usually recommend to start thinking about it when you have around 300, 500 students. Why? Because it's like when you want to start delegating, okay, your service, okay, and you want to start hire teachers, for example, it's recommendable to start doing it a little bit early, because then it's too late. So don't do it when it's too late. And that's why I say that between 300 and 500 is the sweet spot, because your business is big enough to benefit right away from these implementations, but still small enough to kind of let you tweak your processes or certain things in your business that you might not be able to do in the future when you have thousands, when you have 2,000 of students. So that's the sweet spot.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, another one. What's a realistic timeline for completing the transformation and the change?
Yes, this is a great question, meaning the word transformation. This is not only plugging in a couple of tools, this is a transformation. So depending on the starting point, of course, but I usually explain to business owners that you should think about dedicating to it a year or less, because you can have the tools ready tomorrow, but then if you don't know how they work, your team doesn't know how to use them, it doesn't make sense. Therefore, like for growing your business, it took, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years. So you can't think to just plug in some piece of automation and tech and then change your results overnight. So that's why I think that 1 year more or less to start getting a grasp of it, etc., it's absolutely a good timeline. And then, of course, it depends on how tech savvy the team is and also on the starting point.
Yes. Great. So software changes so fast. How can we deal with this when automating our processes?
Sure. So as I said, as soon as you have the right setup in place that's generating results, you need to focus on making the most out of it, on extracting the most outputs as possible. Things, of course, change. So one of the notes that I have for you is distinguish the noise from the real value. Technology always advanced faster than the business needs, okay? So you need to distinguish between something that can really apply to your scenario, to your business, than something that at the moment it's not worth implementing. So, and then of course, you probably need help and external help in order to let you know to when this happens and when it's worth changing your processes or updating your tech stack, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Okay. We have time for about one more question. I really like this one. This tech thing feels a bit overwhelming. How do you overcome this anxiety?
Okay, I totally understand because I know, as I said, when you started out, you started with teaching music or teaching gymnastics. Okay, so of course, technology is not involved in this. So my answer is the following. Think about when you learn how to drive. At the beginning, it's always overwhelming, okay? At the beginning, when you started your business, you wear different hats, okay? So you had to, handle tasks that you didn't know how to do them, okay? So at the beginning, at the beginning of the process, you always are overwhelmed. So one tip that I can give you is to internalize this and step by step start learning, educating yourself, testing out things. Maybe ask for an external help, asking to other business owners who have done the same. And for sure, not have the quick fix mindset and thinking that you pay a membership of a tool, a couple of clicks, and then it's done. Because this absolutely will not bring the results. Actually, it increases the overwhelm and stress.
Great. I love that. Okay. Well, that looks like all the questions that came through. Gloria. Is that all you have, Oscar, for us today?
Yep. So if you don't have any other questions, I think we can close the webinar.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Oscar, thank you for joining us and sharing your insights and knowledge and zooming in all the way from Spain. That was very nice of you. We appreciate it. So everybody have a great day and we'll see you on our next webinar.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.